I, 26, have two sisters and one brother. He's 7 years older. I don't have a good relationship with him because of what he did to our younger sister. My younger sister left when she was 19 and I haven't seen her ever since. However, I have a good relationship with his wife. She's a very nice and generous young lady. I don't get involved in her issues with my brother and I don't judge her for being with him, although he has issues. The two have their share of arguments. His wife had issues and miscarried twice before. She got pregnant again and made it to her second trimester. My brother was happy and looked at ease and calmer than usual. This was the family's first baby boy. My older sister has one daughter. Unfortunately, his wife miscarried on her 5th month. It was devastating for her. But my brother argued with her for days and told the family it was her adult for working, which is wrong. She came to my house last Tuesday with her bags asking if she could stay for a few days because she got into an argument with my brother. She was mess, she lost weight, she was crying and was too tired to do anything. I cooked for her and I made arrangement with a therapist to help her. She doesn't reply to my brother's calls and texts. She says she doesn't want to see him for now for her health. She repeatedly asked me to respect her wish and not pressure her to see him, but I'd never do that. He came to my house wanting to see her. I told him I'm no contact with him, so he has no right to come inside. He said he was there for his wife. I told him she didn't want to talk to him. He lashed out telling me to mind my business and not get involved. I told him she said that and he said I lied. He demanded I let him come in, but I refused. We started arguing. And his voice was getting loud because he was yelling at me and calling me names. I got so mad I told him to leave or I'll call the police. He left then when my mom heard. She berated me along with my sister and the rest of family, saying it's not my business to get involved between my brother and his wife, much less try to drive a wedge between them. They said I had no right to stop him from seeing his wife and that I was in my sister-in-law's ear badmouthing my brother out of hate and pity. I told them I'm just trying to help out and support my sister-in-law, but they said that I'm being harsh on my brother and punishing him for years because of something my younger sister did. Edit: my younger sister left when she was 19. He always tried to control her life. She got pregnant 2 years before and he treated her poorly. He wanted she get an abortion. He even drove her to the clinic himself to get her to fix her mistake. No one helped. I got into an argument with him after she left home and I cut contact with him. I don't know where my sister is now. She only reached out once, but my brother lied to her and told her we all disowned her and we didn't even know until months later. I miss her so much and I want to tell her I'm sorry. My family didn't like that I cut contact with my brother. They said I can't punish my brother for something my sister did. Not the idiot. Your family clearly mix up other problems in this case. Your brother's wife asked you if she can stay so she can get some space from your brother. This is her only safe space right now. Letting your brother in would take her last safe place. You did everything right. Even the therapist appointments. You do all the right things you can and your fam is just brain dead for badmouthing you. Do not get confused because of them. You are a good person and good friend to your brother's wife. Your family has coddled this behavior and looked the other way too much. Bet they would blame his wife for leaving him after they argued constantly and said she never tried or something along those lines. You did the right thing here and shouldn't feel bad for getting in the middle of this drama, especially when your sister-in-law seems severely distressed over everything and just needs time to right herself. I read your comment about what he did to your sister as well, and that's awful. Your brother sounds abusive and controlling, and I don't know your sister-in-law's personally or medical issues, but I feel like her 3 miscarries may have been brought on by your brother's treatment of them. Your family is in the wrong as well, and I can't understand why they sided with him over their own daughter and are now encouraging more abuse from your brother to his wife. I hope she decides to leave him and do what's best for herself. I, 33, live with my mom who is in her mid-60s. We previously had a cordial, if not exactly friendly relationship with our next-door neighbor. This has usually meant friendly hellos and smeltic when we happen to run into each other when throwing out the trash or picking up the mail. My neighbor lives with his wife and kids and keeps dogs as pets. He's the type of pet owner that basically leaves his dogs outside for most, if not all of the day. We know this because the dogs basically bark up a storm non-stop whenever we make any sort of movement in the backyard or walk by the side door, and I have never known the dogs not to be there. We're mostly okay with this as we don't spend a ton of time in the backyard and we don't hear the dogs from inside our house. To the issue at hand, my mom is a registered nurse who works relatively early morning in the morning. She gets picked up at around 5:45-6 a.m. every morning via carpool to go to work. A few weeks ago, while on her way out to the carpool, she noticed my neighbor's side gate was open, but was in a hurry to get to work and didn't think much of it. Unfortunately, while the carpool van was backing out of the driveway, it ran over one of my neighbor's dogs. The dog was quickly rushed to the vet but ultimately didn't make it. Our neighbor was understandably devastated, and we totally empathize with him as we have cats and we keep them mostly indoors for fear of the same thing happening. After his dog's death, our neighbor approached us and asked either us or someone associated with the carpool to pay for the vet bills. He clearly blamed his dog's death at least partially on us and thought that someone should take responsibility. We told him we were sorry about what happened to his dog, but we didn't feel as though it was our responsibility since A, it was on him to make sure his dog was secure, and B, my mom wasn't the one driving the carpool. The carpool driver also said that my neighbor was at fault for not keeping track of his dog, so he didn't want to help pay either. It's clear at this point that our neighbor basically hates us for what happened to his dog, and that probably won't change, but I think us saying no to helping pay his vet bills made things much worse. Now he doesn't even make eye contact with us when we see him and has started erecting a large fence between our property and his. So, are we the idiot for not agreeing to help him with his vet bills? Not the idiot. It's astounding, or maybe not, that everyone who argues against you can only make their point by changing the scenario. What if? Screw their what ifs. Your neighbor made a mistake. A mistake that, for them, became tragic. It's their mistake, so it's their fault. The driver didn't intentionally run over the dog. And if it happened in your driveway, then their dog was uncontrolled and off their property. I have a service dog, a pet dog and 2 cats. If they are unattended off my property, it is absolutely my fault. If my dog's behavior injured someone else, I would be liable, so why is the neighbor not liable for the dog's wandering in this case? It's all very sad. Dogs are short, the road is for cars, dogs are required to be secured. If the carpool driver was turning around and using their driveway and hit their dog, that's a whole nother story. While I sympathize with their grief, they are dealing with the guilt of leaving the gate unlocked by blaming everyone else. I used to be animal control, please no hate, and sadly this is common and so hard to work with. You are not at fault, they should have had their dog in their yard, or on a leash, or some way under their control. These are the incidents that I always use to tell people why they need to control their dog, not because their dog is bad, but vehicles will win. It's sad, I feel for their loss, and I understand their need to blame someone. It is always hard to blame ourselves, but ultimately it is their fault. I am glad they are building a better fence to hopefully protect all their pets in the future. I'm at 39 weeks and due any day now. I'm a single mom, and throughout my pregnancy and getting away from my ex, I've had 2 constant people in my corner, C, 22, and P, 26. For starters, P has been wanting and trying for a child for 2 years now. She's had a few false hopes and I know it must have been devastating for her. But P also leads a lifestyle that really isn't for getting pregnant. She is a heavy smoker and drinks often. I've gently suggested an ob-gyn so she and her boyfriend cover their bases when she would open up. As far as I know, I don't think she's ever gone and has only stuck to keep trying. I know when I found out I was pregnant, she was both conflicted and happy for me. P was lovely and helped me a lot. And, just so I'm transparent here, where I live, abortion is illegal. I've never wanted a baby, the pregnancy was forced on me by my ex. I opened up about adoption, or getting an abortion anyway. I changed my mind later on after a few talks with my family and said I'd be keeping my baby. I love him now very much despite the rough start, and I wouldn't trade my child for anything. Lately, I would get daily messages from her saying things like, "It's August. He's coming soon. How's our baby? It's August XX. Is my baby boy doing okay? XX days to go. How are we doing? Still no sign. Love you and our baby so much. No labor yet. You need to walk more. I bet he can't wait to come out. You have to help him along. What are you doing? I'm uncomfortable with P referring to my child as ours or even hers. There have been plans of video calling while I'm in labor to make sure to show us baby when he's out. She messaged the other day along the lines of where are you planning to give birth? You should try a clinic, they're cheaper and there's a good one near here. I can come with you. Baby doesn't have a daddy anyway, I'll just take the father's spot. I found it horrible since the spot in the room was for my mother, who has ultimately been my rock. I also found out that when I told them the gender, she made a Facebook post about it, a cute baby graphic with coming soon, it's a boy. People have been congratulating her, she just love reacted and reply with images. She has been asking when they can all visit when the baby is here, and with everything that's happened, I'm not sure I even want anyone around anymore. I'm trying not to be paranoid or take things dramatically, but I feel so robbed despite not wanting to sever the friendship. Would I be the idiot if I go through with this? No idiots here yet. I'd sit down and talk to her and explain what she's doing that's making you uncomfortable. If she keeps doing it, then she's absolutely the idiot. Otherwise she could just mean it as a figure of speech. I regularly refer to my nephew as my baby boy, he's just over 1. I don't have kids of my own and, quite honestly, have never wanted them. But I love this kid. However, if my brother or sister-in-law asked me to stop calling him, that I absolutely would. Your friend can't know what you're thinking without you telling her. It's what she does in response to that conversation that will make a determination. I think there are some red flags here from what OP described. The friend has never opened up as to whether or not they've seen a specialist to determine if her or her boyfriend have an issue. Also, posting something that seems to imply that she is pregnant is odd. It's also possible that OP is hypersensitive to everything and hasn't described the situation accurately. I think talk to your mom and see what she thinks. It sounds like at some point you were relying on this friend for support. I get the feeling that her weird banter is just more of that and you just aren't taking it well. I'll admit that what she's saying is a little creepy, but I wonder if using the terms we and are is to help you feel less alone as a single mother. Why not just be honest with her and talk things out? Our daughter is 5. My husband has always wanted her to have long, waist-length hair. The problem is this type of hair is impractical for a young, active child. Plus every night it is a struggle to untangle it or if we wash it to also dry it. Every bath ended in many tears on her part. My husband is rarely home for bath time due to work, so I could not pass this task on to him. Last week I took our daughter to visit my mother in another state. She witnessed one bath time meltdown and told me it was insane to not just cut my daughter's hair to a more manageable length. I asked my daughter if she wanted shorter hair and she said yes. I took her the next day and she got a very cute shoulder-length bob. Still not very short in my opinion. In all fairness, I should have told my husband, but I did not. I figured once he saw my daughter with her hair still fairly long, but looking very cute he would come around. However, that night we FaceTimed and as soon as he saw my daughter he ended the call and has refused to answer calls or texts. My daughter is devastated that her father won't talk to her because of her haircut. My mom is trying to tell me to stay with her and not even go back home, but listening to her caused this problem in the first place. Was I the idiot for cutting my daughter's hair without telling my husband? Your husband is an idiot and controlling. I really despise that men want to tell women and girls what to do with their hair. Cut it short, and tell him if he likes long hair he can grow his own hair. If you are the primary person caring for the kid and you are the one dealing with the hair and she wants it cut, then cut it. Your mom might be speaking up and telling you to stay because she sees much more to this. Not the idiot. I had long hair as a child and it was freaking awful. I hated taking care of it. I was very much a rough tumble little girl and spent more time with my hair back in a ponytail or a braid. The day I chopped my hair off I was so happy. Bath times were easier for me, my mornings got quicker, and I had so much more time to do things instead of sitting in front of my mom and crying because the tangles hurt my hair. Wouldn't talk to her because she got a haircut. That is such a sad thing for a little girl to go through. I don't understand why people get so worked up over their small children's hair. It grows back. They're little. Why fight with them over hair? My kids have super curly hair and I keep cutting it. My oldest wants long hair, but isn't mature enough to take proper care of it, so until that day comes. I, 36, been with my husband, 38, for 11 years. We have 2 beautiful girls, 3, 7, and both my husband and I work long hours, and in the past year it was rough. I got pregnant and had a miscarriage at the first trimester. It was devastating for me and my husband. My husband has always been hoping for a son, and he was so frustrated because we were going to stop having kids after my last pregnancy didn't go well. My husband started convincing me wanting to change my mind so he could have another shot to become a dad to a baby boy. I told him I wouldn't do something when I'm not convinced, especially when he wanted me to go against my doctor's orders. I got pregnant again. I was told it was gonna be risky and there was another chance for miscarriage. Add to that my overall health and how it's been affected. My husband was literally counting the day on the calendar, hoping that the first trimester will pass without any issues. He surprised me when he started buying boy clothes and refused to use our daughter's nursery when I suggested making changes to it and got a new one. He refused to go with me to our scheduled ultrasound to reveal the gender if the baby and said he'd be waiting for me to call him with the news. I was upset that he was acting like this. My ultrasound revealed that it was a baby girl. I did call my husband, but he didn't pick up, so I sent it in a text. My husband was with the girls when I got home. He looked upset and not too happy with the news. I asked him if he wanted to tack because he was quiet the whole time, that is until the evening, when he blew up on me wanting to know if I was testing him and lying about our baby gender to see his reaction. I told him it was a girl. He was talking in front of the girls saying how he was not too excited for another girl and wanted a boy. Argued about my previous miscarriage, saying it was probably a boy and I ruined it for him. I didn't want to argue because of my pain, but I told him he was being unreasonable being upset like that and should stop with his childish behavior over something that I don't control, since he was clearly trying to blame me. He threw a fit asking what he's going to do with the stuff he bought and refused to stop arguing days later. It's become so exhausting having to listen to this every day, basically just shaming and guilt-tripping me. The girls even asked why their dad was upset because they're gonna have a baby sister. And if they had a baby brother he'd love him more. Nope. Not the idiot. Quite literally you don't have a choice in the matter. The man either contributes an X or Y chromosome. That means biological sex is always decided by the male contributor. I realize this is going to probably make things more complicated for you, but it is quite literally your husband's fault that you two always have had girls. Men that cannot grasp this fact irritate the hell out of me. So there you go. You are probably being significantly nicer about it than I would be. Not the idiot. Your husband is though. He encouraged you to go against the doctor's advice, risk your own health and that of a baby, just so he can have a boy. These aren't the actions of a loving husband. You have no control over your miscarriage or what gender your child will be. Your husband's actions are appalling. Doing it in front of your children is terrible. I'd be considering divorce if I was you. Your husband is being emotionally manipulative and taking it out on you when you're the one he should be worried about. He needs to be looking after you, not fretting over blue-colored baby stuff he preemptively purchased. He's got more emotional investment in a hypothetical baby boy than your physical and mental health.